Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. It's Wednesday, midweek Wednesday, a little bit of a mashup today. First off, want to thank everybody for participating in our Scoutcrafter Key Caddy Challenge. Went really well. Appreciate everybody submitting and also commenting on the people that did submit. It was a fun contest and challenge. Today we got a few things to get to. It's a little chilly here in the Northeast. You know, we've had a cold snap and we're still dealing with some snow here. A little bit of anxiety that always deals with that, but we're getting through it, and we are in February. February, a short month, and hopefully it goes quick. We got Valentine's Day coming up, a few things coming up, but the first we're going to start with today is we're going to start. I didn't show you what I did for my Key Caddy challenge, and I ran into a little bit of a stumping block, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's get right to that. And here it is, and it's not finished, and I'll tell you why it's not finished. It wasn't because I was busy and things like that. I just ran in, you know, like there's a thing called writer's block. Well, it's the same thing when you're building something. Sometimes you hit a creative block or something, especially when you're designing something and you get halfway through and you say, you know, maybe I think I'll give you an example of what happened with this one here. This was the design I wanted. It came out more or less just the way I wanted. You know, it was a kind of a tier system on how to mount your keys, okay? Because when you put the keys on, you don't want them hitting the backboard, so you don't want these hooks too close to the back, so they were suspended up front a little bit. I was going to have 3 tiers, the top tier, the middle tier, and I even pre-drilled holes for the bottom tier. Again, it's away from the wall. However, here's what I was thinking about. I ran into a problem with the color of what color. You know, I have a lot of things that are gun stock, and I love gun stock, but you know, I use clear grain wood. There's not a knot on this wood. It's just such a nice wood. I could do anything I want, and so I was a little stumped with the colors. And if you know any of my submissions before, there are 2 things I like to do. Either it's a patriotic theme or it's a hidden theme. And this one here, again, went with the hidden theme, you know, and so you have your keys like this that are hanging, you know, but you can also flip this up, and there's some additional keys in the back, and those keys in the back will be like things that maybe you don't want exposed, you know, spares or things like that, you know, hidden keys, you know. So when it's like this, you're good to go, and then you open it up, and I specifically made the hook so that the keys would lay down, and let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, here's the keyboard of what it would look like in action, more or less, and some of the features I designed into it is that the keys wouldn't fall off with any kind of shaking or anything, you know, so I double bent the hooks so that they're easy to remove and put on, but they won't come off when it's kind of shaking, because that's important, because again, you're going to open this up. I want the access to be here, and I didn't want the keys to fall off when you open or close the box. So you know, that was one of the design parameters. And again, I could have a third tier down here. But, you know, this is pretty much most of the spare keys that I have. These are keys I don't use all the time, like my car keys and stuff. I would use my regular keyboard for that. So, you know, everything was going good that way. Just the color has got me kind of perplexed. So that's my entry. So what color do you think you would like to see this in? You know, just throw it down in the comments. A lot of times your suggestions help me out, and I do appreciate it. And by the way, thanks so much for everybody that participated and even commented on the participants. I really appreciate that. Next up, remember our buddy Scott Durger? He sent the great telephone over. Well, when the handset was broken, he got another handset and he sent it over. How great is that? Thank you, Scott. And you know what's really funny? I mentioned that. I said, you know, the gorillas that work in UPS found a way to break that handset. And check this out. So Scott sent this over here, and I got such a kick out of the label. Look at this. It says contains 1 gorilla. The gorillas that broke the hand. It takes a gorilla. I'm telling you, these things are like bulletproof. There's no human being that could break one of these. So let's take a look at what this is here. We've never seen one of these before, right? Look at that. New old stock. And with this cable, you know. And Look at this. It's made of a Lexan, okay? That's what it says on there. So look at this. And you know what's funny? We had a couple comments about, you know, these things always had an odor to them, you know, like a kind of a smoke odor. And we used to put these things to our head when we were kids. I mean, I couldn't even think about that now. I would be like, I'd have to disinfect the thing. But years ago, you wouldn't think nothing about putting it. These were always oily. This was always oily here from people's, you know, sometimes literally, there'd be earwax and stuff. I mean, but we would put it, forget it. I couldn't even think about it now. But here's a nice new old stock one. I did, you know, repair the other one, but, you know, as best I could. There was, but man, this is so nice. So let's put this on, see what it entails to get this on. What a nice little handset. Lex. Now remember, to open up this phone, there were 2 keys needed. One would just give a quarter turn up, and the other one here would just give a turn like this, and then the phone would pull out, slide out this way, and then we can replace the handset. Okay, here's where the armored cable passes through the phone body, and you can see it's held on by this clip, and you can see one bolt holds that on, and then the wires here, color-coded, they're twisted together, but they go right here. Looks like a very easy swap out, so let's okay, like Scott said, it was an easy swap out. What a great design. You know, you have that double strain relief. It's caught down here and it's caught up here that this can't get ripped out. So let's put it back together. And there we go. And remember that sound? You know, there's one thing that I have to tell you. We were talking, it's so funny, a lot of the newer generation will never know the pleasure. And you hear the sound? But you'll never know the pleasure of hanging up on somebody. It's not the same when you disconnect on a cell phone, but if you've ever had an argument over the phone and the feeling, the distinctive pleasure of grabbing that phone and slamming it down, it's, you know, it's something that the new generation will never, and maybe that's a good thing because, but how nice is that? Scott, thank you. Okay, next up, you remember this. This was Joel Jacobson's drill, his neighbor's drill. And what happened is, as an early teenager back in the 40s, Joel would use his neighbor's drill. And then when the daughter of that neighbor gave this to Joel, she had passed away since then, but gave it to Joel as a memento. And so this is kind of special. It has a lot of sentimental value, even to me, and I didn't even know the neighbor. So with something like this, you know, there's a couple things to do. You know, I'm not a patina guy, okay? So all this here, that's got to go. But see, like little things like this, you know, that's use where I'm okay with that, you know, and we'll try and just clean this up and make it something that's just, you know, that you wouldn't feel like that it was neglected, okay? So let's do that real quick. Okay, here we are, the basic disassembly of the drill itself. Now, you don't have to take apart the chuck. We will, just to clean it up, but I want to show you, this is very, to take apart these chucks, you got to be careful because, see, first of all, you don't want to mess up the knurling. This has the original nickel coating. You can tell it's like a dull, satiny finish, but you don't want to go too aggressive on this because nickel is never really a durable finish. Now, you want to put this, you want to be able to hold this and screw this off. And to do that, you could see here, it's got the double pin where you could take it off. And I'm going to show you how to do this with minimal amount of specialty tools. But the first thing you want to do is take a block of wood, sacrificial, to hold this so you don't mess up the knurling. Okay, here we have our small block of wood that we're going to use. And we'll take out our spade bits, okay? And we're going to match up the drill chuck with the spade bit that most likely gets the right diameter. And this one here is very close, and this one here is a 1 inch. So we'll take that 1 inch and we'll drill a 1 inch hole in that wood. I've always been a big fan of the spade bit. A lot of people don't like them, but I always did. They just, with this type of spade bit that doesn't have the points, a little more power is needed in the whatever drill you're using. Nice clean hole. Now we're just going to cut this. It doesn't matter, near the middle, straight down all the way through. Okay, I'm going to take a little extra time to go over this, because this is something, if you haven't come across, you will one day, and it's always good to keep this in your bag of tricks. Now, we made this little jig, which is fantastic to hold anything round, so we got that secure. Now we have to get this pin nut off of here, and what they usually use is something called a pin face spanner, and it's nothing more than a wrench that has 2 pins. It's adjustable, and we don't have one, okay? I have one, but I'm sure a lot of you don't. And if you do have one, the chances are that you'll have the right size pins is another, you know, if thing. So I'm going to show you like a few different ways to get this off of here just in case. The first way is, if you've got the time and you want to have some fun in the shop, you never throw away your old broken or dull drill bits for this reason, because this is a perfect time to use it. Get a couple of drill bits that fit the hole just like that, like the way they're supposed to, and then take a calipers here, spring calipers, get the exact measurement between the 2 holes, and drill, just push this into here and put these, you know, transfer these onto wood, and then drill 2 holes into there, going in about half an inch or so. Okay, now we have the drill bits seated in about 3/4 of an inch or whatever into the wood. So now you're going to place this here like this. Now you're not going to use this as a wrench, because obviously that won't work, but you just want this to hold this like that on top. Now they're fitting in there good. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your adjustable wrench, you're going to slip it over here, and it should be a nice tight fit. You want to tighten up these drawers so that they're pretty snug to the pins, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to hold the top, and keeping this down close to the chuck, you're going to turn it, and there you go. It couldn't be simpler than that. This is a good way, in case you ever come across one of these nuts, to do it that way. I'm going to show you another way. Now, usually when you come across these, there's going to be 2 types you're going to run into. One is where it's not that tight, you know, where like this one here, it's in good shape. And the other one is it's going to be all rusted and solid, cruddy, and that's the hard ones you got to watch for. When you get the hard ones, it's always a good idea to hit the outside with a torch for a little bit. It doesn't have to be hot when you're doing this, but you just hit it with a torch to have that expansion and contraction break any rust that might be in there. And then you're going to use, and this is, again, a preferred method if you don't have a pin wrench, but now you see this is a channel lock, a straight jaw. Now if we were to put this over here, you see we only get 2 points of contact, 1, 2, not preferable. Here is a curved jaw channel lock, okay? And you see if we put this on here now, we get 4 points of contact. 1, 2, 3, 4. Much more preferred. But the only thing is, you have to have something to go in between the jaws and here, because you don't want to mar this surface. Now, there are a lot of different materials you could use as an interface between the wrench and the chuck. Copper is great, leather is great, but there's all kinds of things you have at home. Like this is a piece of that aluminum tin can. Okay, you wrap it around like that with the aluminum tin can here. You place this wrench on here, it'll grip, and you can do it that way. That will work. Another way you could do it is you can cut off a piece on the chop saw of PVC pipe. Okay, just cut off a small piece like that, put it around there like that. You're going to have to open up the jaw a little bit more, but you'll see here, we still get that grip on there. And when you squeeze tight, you could see it's going to help, and it's going to give you a good purchase on there. So anything to avoid marring the surface, but that's really important. But my favorite is the 2 drill bits and a block of wood with the adjustable wrench works every time. Now to get the jaws out of the chuck, just unscrew the chuck like this. The jaws will be in there, turn it upside down, give it a quick tap on something hard, and the jaws will come out just like that, okay? There'll be 3 like that with springs attached. Then you take each one of these jaws, you don't lose these springs, and they only fit in these little pockets in here. And then take them over, you could steel wool them, just make sure they're nice and clean, and then reassemble this, wiping it with a light oil in between, and reassemble it. And okay, now for the handle, we're gonna, again, we want to keep it like this, so now we're gonna wipe it down with mineral spirits to get all the dirt and oil, hand oils off, the salt, things like that. And then we're gonna cover that with butcher's wax. Okay, that's gonna go over the handle, all the wood areas, butcher's wax. Then the Johnson's Paste Wax, you don't see me use this much. This is great for the threads. It's a softer wax. It's not a hard wax, and it's great for the threads. And we'll go over that there so that the cap spins on nice and easy. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what Joel's drill looked like before we started? And we're calling this project done. Again, this was just a cleanup. You know, this is what you would do to preserve a drill, that, you know, normal maintenance. Let's talk a little bit about what we did here. We cleaned everything up. We had to do a little repaint because the paint was just flaking off. Took all the rust off. I even had to repaint the cap. But let me show you something about this drill. You don't see too many of these around. You can see this is called a Worth drill with the asterisk behind it. And these were made by Peck, Wilcox, and Stowe. And you remember Peck Stowe is what they became. And these were made, it was like an off-brand, and companies would come to them and have them make drills for the whatever company. And this drill was made for a few different companies, but this one is branded Worth. And they were a good tool because, of course, they were made by a good company. And these Eggbeater drills are, you know, they're a fantastic drill, especially for getting young people started in using drills and things like that, because it teaches you how to keep sharp bits and how to use the right pressure, and of course how to align it to get a straight hole. I used to bring these down to the scout troop all the time, and we would have contests. And it'd be funny how the contests were. Actually, what I would do is I would have them drill a hole, and then I would take a square to see if they could drill a straight hole. And I'll show you what that is in a minute. But here you could see it just came out real nice. Did it up just like the original, nice and clean. And to put the drill bit in here, what you would do is you would loosen this up, the chuck here like this. You would put an appropriate bit in, and then you would tighten it up like this. And you would just hold the wheel here from spinning and just give it a good firm tight. And I'll show you how this works. And we oiled everything up. Everything's nice and smooth. Has the telltale Eggbeater sound. Let's go try. Okay, let's try Joel's drill out. Remember, he used this as a kid in the 40s. So we're going to place this against our chest here. You can hold it a bunch of different ways. You can hold by the handle. You can hold by this. And we're going to place it against some 3/4 inch pine. Let the drill bit do the work. Give it some RPMs and feed it in slowly. And just let the drill bit do the work. And you can see how easy that goes through the 3/4 inch. And again, let the drill bit do the work. Important to remember, when you don't backing it out like this, because that'll leave product or waste in the hole. So after you drill the hole, you keep spinning it forward as you pull it out. That's one tip for these. But what a nice little drill, and still works as good today as it did when Joel used it back in the late 40s. Now, that contest I would do with the scouts is, it wasn't if you could drill a hole through the wood. Anybody could do it. It was how accurate you did it. So what I would do is have them drill a series of holes. Then I would take the drill bit out, place it into one of the holes they drilled, and then hold up a square next to the drill and see how square they were able to get that, how straight they were able to get that drill in. And that's a lot of fun. It's good practice for you to even try out, you know, to try and drill a straight hole with an Eggbeater drill. So in closing, that was a fun episode today. I know I had a good time. So special thanks to Scott Durga for the phone, for the receiver, and also Joel Jacobson for that awesome drill. And I hope you have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care now. Bye-bye. Check this out. That's what it should sound like.